What's going on, guys? Welcome to the third episode of MovieFellas, a podcast where two millennials with little to no knowledge of film talk about movies, both classic and current. I'm your host, Adam Norris, and as always, my co-host, Matt, quote, favorite movie of all time is clearly Assassin's Creed, Rosenberg. Yeah,
Lies.
it was too easy for this week. I had to go with it. And also, nice surprise, and you can go and introduce yourself, our good buddy David Toole, a.k.a. we will refer to him as Haste, the David. What's going on, dude?
Hi, everybody. I like movies and stuff.
Yeah, so perfect. He's more qualified than us.
I'm sorry, I don't think I asked what you like, so you can just shut up now until we actually ask you a question, Haste.
I came out to have a good time, and I'm feeling so attacked.
Good.
It's okay, Haste. Matt hurts me when we're not on air, so it's okay.
That is very true.
It is very true. All right, well, with this week, guys, we're pretty informal, but this time around, we all committed, all three of us, to go watch the movie Split, a thriller by starring James McAvoy and a couple British girls that no one knew anything about.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
She was
right.
The witch.
Mm-hmm. What?
Oh, yeah, whatever. Oh, yeah, you're right. She was in Witch, wasn't she?
Yep,
As
she
the
was the main
daughter,
girl.
the older daughter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I'm dumb. And directed by M. Night Shyamalan, it was it's considered to be...
Ding dong, yeah.
I mean, IMDb and plenty of reviewers have been giving it pretty much raving reviews. People seem to like it a lot. Mm-hmm. So we all decided to go and watch it. And as a group this week, we will all, as a group, be reviewing the film. And because we have hardly any qualifications, we're just going to kind of talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, all that kind of fun stuff. You guys down for that?
Well said, good sir.
Absolutely.
I have a degree in talking in front of people, so I should be pretty decent.
Yeah, well,
at it
so
at this
do
point.
I. So
yeah, okay.
I sort of do.
Haste has one that makes money, sort of.
That's true.
Yeah. We should be the ultimate group right here.
Oh, man.
This is it. All right, well, let's start off with first impressions. How we felt walking into the movie, what we knew going in, that kind of maybe gave us sort of a bias towards the film. Haste, what were some of your first impressions of the movie before you even started watching it?
Honestly, going into the movie, I was a little concerned because I haven't really seen an M. Night movie since Avatar or The Last Airbender.
Oh, no wonder.
And I was like, I'm not really sure what to expect from this. And honestly, having seen previews for, I think he did Devil a couple of years ago.
Devil was 4 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
And then The Visit was one of his most recent movies.
Yeah, I expected it to be more along the lines of those, more of the suspenseful horror, where this was just more suspense.
Yeah, psychological kind of stuff.
I agree.
I was expecting a lot more just jump scares and all that kind of fun jazz.
Okay, Matt, what were some of your first impressions?
Well, I know we talked about M. Night, or as you first referred to him as M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong, which I have referred to him henceforth from that moment when we were 19. My first impressions were I loved it. I haven't seen an M. Night movie since Last Airbender. I've seen Signs and Unbreakable. I haven't seen The Village, but I've heard great things about it. But
it's good. It's kind of a cult movie. Most people weren't really big fans of it.
Okay.
But those who did like it liked it a lot.
Yeah, so. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was less scary. I think the marketing campaign behind it is kind of playing it off as this really, really psychological horror film when it's more just kind of a psychological thriller, in my opinion. But I loved it. I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait.
Nice.
We should probably say something before we get too much farther into this. This is going to be a spoiler-filled
Yes. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yes, good call. We are not going to pretty much hold back on anything, so if you've not seen the film, and when you have not seen the ending, that is definitely really dope, and we're definitely going to be talking about that for a few minutes.
Go watch it.
Just be warned. Final spoiler warning before we get into the stuff. We will be spoiling parts of this movie. Pretty much the whole movie.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, so... Well, I guess for me, first impressions wise, I don't know. I had very low expectations and very low hopes because The Visit kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Wasn't a big fan. It just felt kind of like your standard 2010 jump scare thriller movie that uses Skype, and I just wasn't in the mood for it as much. And then before that, you had, let's see, I'm trying to think. There was The Visit, and what was the one before? The Happening. That's
the trees.
It was
the trees.
That was if this was pretty kind of not okay branding for this movie, that movie got horror completely wrong. It should have been labeled a comedy because I spent way more time laughing at their predicament than actually being scared for them.
All right, we got to make some calculations. Why are we making calculations? Nobody knows Mark Wahlberg, but we're gonna make him anyway.
Yeah. So going in, I kind of just was like, honestly, Shyamalan Ding Dong can go anywhere but up. He has no other choice.
Right,
it
exactly.
can't get much worse.
Yeah.
So, but all that being said, when I walked out, I was absolutely blown away. It's certainly not probably going to be my favorite movie of the year, but it's definitely one of my favorites of his, personally.
Right.
So I think we all kind of, as soon as we all were texting before this, our initial response, we all kind of had the same feeling of, man, that was probably one of his best movies he's ever done.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So,
yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Well, I guess moving from first impressions, let's talk about the story, which is, well, you know, if it's not a good story, it's not a good movie. So,
well, I would disagree.
let's see. Yeah,
no,
well,
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, unless you're Michael Bay, but let's talk about characters. What are some main characters? Haste. What character stuck out the most to you?
Oh gosh, probably. See, I'm torn. I'm torn between the main girl, and James McAvoy's character, or characters, I should say.
Yes.
Because I don't know. They were so just in your face, and I know that's kind of the point. I mean, they're the main characters, but their struggle and just survival, I guess, felt so real. And James McAvoy just absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Phenomenal.
Could not agree.
In terms of acting, that was insane. To play so many different personalities, to play a couple genders, to play age differences, and to do it all well was just something that I didn't expect to. That was one of the things I didn't expect going to the movie, to have his acting be so just phenomenal.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and
it's interesting.
Just to finish my point,
you're fine.
The main actress, you felt like she was doing her best to survive, and that's another thing that I really liked about it.
Right.
Well, interesting fact. Before I saw this, I was randomly just watching a clip of the Today Show when McAvoy was doing a little media blitz for the film, and Matt Lauer brought up an interesting point, where he said, now I had heard, McAvoy, that you actually had spent the least amount of time preparing for this film than any other movie you've ever done.
Really?
And he said, well, because there were some casting issues, he was cast only a month before filming began.
Wow.
He had 1 month.
Do you know who was cast beforehand?
Originally it was going to be Joaquin Phoenix.
Really? Okay.
But they had issues with his agent, and
I think he would have been good,
book him to do it. So he had a month, and he said he usually has more time to interview someone, but he could not secure an interview with anyone who has DID, dissociative identity disorder. So to consider that he spent the least amount of time with the least amount of information and still pulled off that intensive a role, I was...
Right.
Him alone, anything else could have happened in the movie, I still would have walked out probably liking it.
Yeah, exactly. But the story could have been crap, and just his performance, phenomenal.
Well, for those of you who may have not seen it and you're just a masochist and you want to be spoiled about things you haven't seen yet, which is pretty much, I think, all three of us sometimes. Split follows the story of, what are the girls' names? Because the only one I'm really worried about is
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy is the main character.
Yeah. The other girls, they said their names.
So irrelevant.
They're so they're so replaceable. Like you could have gotten any actress,
or they could have just not been in the movie altogether.
Actually, I kind of enjoyed. I think they were supposed to be replaceable, and I think they wanted Anya Taylor-Joy to kind of fulfill that final girl role, kind of in horror, where it's one girl left at the end.
I agree.
I don't even remember the character's name, to be honest. I'm just gonna refer to her as Anya.
Mostly because let's see, we got Casey, who is Anya's character.
Okay.
And we'll refer to the other girls as girl number 1 and girl number 2 because they pretty much were just fodder for the story, which is fine. That's not a complaint.
No, they are. It's very true.
They were just there to kind of point some things out.
That's true.
You have Casey Cook and girl 1 and 2 are all at a birthday party for girl number 1, and girl number 1's father shows up. And they have an awkward conversation about, Casey wasn't supposed to be here, but I couldn't invite everyone in the class, but not invite her.
Right.
So you already know from the beginning that she's kind of an outcast, Casey's character. But the 3 girls end up riding together because Casey couldn't find her ride home, and the dad was going to take 3 of them home. Well, things don't go the way as planned, and we'll refer to McAvoy's character as Dennis because that is probably the most prevalent
character
personality.
Yeah.
So this random guy, McAvoy, kind of just shows up and casually knocks father unconscious, steals the 3 girls, and the majority of the film is the 3 girls being captured and kind of tortured, tormented by Dennis, by Kevin, you find out being the actual human being, but Dennis and his other 23 personalities. We only see 8 or 9, but we see most of the film kind of the fight between Dennis and his control over the 3 girls. And ultimately learning that there's not only 23 personalities, there is a 24th that they refer to as the Beast. And seeing, in the third act, the culmination of the Beast, what it actually is, what it does, and finding out whether or not Casey and her 2 friends survive.
Right.
So that's pretty fair in terms of summation. I mean, besides the psychologist, that kind of mini story, that's pretty much it. It's just their survival in being captivity.
It's not really... I think the marketing campaign wants to bring in those classical horror fans that kind of go out and see horror movies for the thrills, even though most horrors... I mean, I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this. I think most horror is crap. Like, there's really good horror, and I don't really like horror. It's just not my thing. But, Haste, you like horror a lot, don't you?
I'm not really more of the blood and gore.
Right.
Actually, no, correct that. I'm more of a blood and gore than a really, jump scare kind of person.
Right.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
That was just funny.
I just remember us playing Silent Hill in your room in college for, hours on end with all the lights turned off and, at 2 a.m. and being horrified. Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So I would have to agree, and if anything, I'd offer maybe a slight adjustment to that and say horror films have kind of lost a lot of what makes movies good.
Right.
And they just assume that if you're able to scare someone and provide something that can offend them enough, that's considered a good horror movie.
Right, like torture porn kind of,
In reality, it's just a bad movie with scary parts. And that's not fun. And this movie was certainly not that.
There wasn't torture scenes. There was scenes that made the girls uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, especially something that 2 characters that stuck out to me that McAvoy played were Hedwig and Dennis. Because Dennis, he's trying to be you empathize with him and Hedwig. Hedwig's just a little kid and he just wants to impress these girls. And then Dennis is this guy who's got this intense OCD. He can't have anything dirty or anything like that. But they're all so terrified because they're they don't know what to make of this whole situation. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something that really stuck out to me, this is kind of just at the start of the movie. I was surprised with how he went about abducting the girls. I didn't expect him just to knock Dad out, shove down the trunk. I expected him to just kind of knock him out and leave him there.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting something like that.
Is that what happened? Did he leave him in the trunk?
We would assume that because he's more than capable of killing people, that the Dennis personality, who was the only one to commit murder, technically, besides the Beast, he more than likely killed him.
Right, okay.
Or just shoved him in the trunk, knocked him out, and then... Because we never see the car again, so...
That's
who
true.
knows if Dennis got rid of the car, let Dad out, all that fun jazz. That was kind of something we never really got the answer to.
Yeah. I wonder. Ooh, it makes me wonder. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. No, you're funny. I guess the only other thing about the story that's worth mentioning in terms of understanding the framework is there are moments where Kevin or Dennis, this man who has all these personalities, leaves his little basement bunker and has these, he calls them emergency visits with his therapist, and that kind of acts as, I guess, foundation for where all these personalities came from. You learn that the kidnapper has a very troubled past, that he was abused as a child, and these personalities from his disorder came about as a form of a defense mechanism,
right,
as a coping mechanism, as a way of kind of sheltering Kevin, this little kid. Or we learn towards the end of the film that Kevin, the actual person, the brain in charge of everything, has not been cognizant since 2014.
Right.
And this movie took place in let's just say early 2016. It's meant to be present day.
Yeah.
So considering that his personality disorder was that strong that it was able to subdue his actual subconscious for a year and a half, not knowing anything, it just shows just how deeply broken he was, which is just a part of the overall, what I thought would be is the strongest narrative and the theme of the movie, which is brokenness. Because Shyamalan Ding Dong, once again, as much as we can poke fun at him, he is amazing at painting, we'll just call it what it is, Christian thematics into his movies in a way that anyone who isn't a Christian can perfectly empathize with. No one's going to walk out of the movie and go, I don't think that girl, Casey, I don't think she had it that bad.
Right, exactly.
And I don't think anyone would walk out and say, well, Kevin's just a crazy guy. Glad he's dead. Well, he's not dead, but hopefully he dies. I don't think anyone felt that way, and it just goes to prove how strong the theme was, where you could empathize with someone who is casually kidnapping girls, killing people. You still feel for what he's dealing with, because I think any viewer can walk in and reflect on their own past and say, well, I certainly don't have DID, but I know for a fact that I'm a broken person. And to be able to connect that with, a kidnapper it's impressive. I was very impressed by the way that theme kind of flowed throughout the movie, especially the ending, where he literally quotes from the Bible the concept of the Beatitudes, the blessed are the brokenness.
Right,
which is just such a
I love that
ending. Oh, it's such a good ending.
I thought that was crazy.
Let's talk about the ending. What I've talked too much. Matt, Haste, you guys talk about the ending.
Haste, you go first. I'll go second. Save the best for last. That's what I say.
Something I wasn't expecting from the ending of the movie was the fact that, spoilers, I know we've already said that, but he lives the end of the movie.
Really? Okay.
After taking those couple shotgun blasts, I figured, okay, I get that he was invincible, but I didn't expect it would be something he walked away from. The diner scene in the credits, or before the credits, kind of brought that all together.
Well, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. Right.
But that kind of, once you saw that, it kind of brought you back to, it's okay, this makes sense of why he made it.
Reality.
We see the main girl survive because she is so broken, which we get the glimpse of what made her broken. And
it builds to it. I thought that was done well.
Yeah, and then she survives because of that being broken, because it's something that physically manifested because of her actions, and that the beast sees that and he's like, okay, you're not like everybody else. You've suffered. You don't need to suffer anymore. I will just go my way.
Right.
Just kind
he's
of
like,
everything be.
Doesn't he say those who are broken are the more evolved? And he's like, I'm like the peak human, almost like an XMen concept, kind of he is.
In order to evolve, you must be broken.
Yeah.
You cannot achieve it through any other means.
And that's literally what happened to him. I heard a lot of people didn't or not a lot. I've heard a few people say, until it got to the very, very end in the diner scene, they were like, this is kind of a weird twist, why did you? But I personally, before I even saw the diner scene, because I came into this movie knowing nothing.
Same.
Yeah, I was like,
too.
I was like, oh, I like that. That's kind of very interesting. And I was like, Shyamalan's going to have some sort of sci-fi twist on his movie. Like, something's going to be there, And so I'm like, that's really interesting. Like, these different personalities have different physical attributes that affect different things. And this is just another one of those things, It was horrifying, too, when he played him. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, the Beast was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, when he pulled the bars apart and he just, like, oh, man, it was scary. But
and also, once again, I guess connecting theme with the ending, up until that point in the film, Kevin or Dennis or however you want to call him, McAvoy's character, actually hinted at kind of the ending earlier on. And I thought about this now, reviewing it in my brain, when he had one of the girls, who we'll call her girl number 2, attempted to escape the bunker by hitting one of Kevin's personalities with the chair and running for the door. We know how that ends. But if you guys can remember, when Dennis, or in this case it was the motherly figure personality, when she was taking control with the knife, she kept saying, "You haven't known anything but comfort.
Right.
You've never known what it's like to not be protected." And when you hear that at first, you're like, wow, that must be just referencing, the film in and of itself, referencing himself.
Right.
You don't know where I've come from. But really, it was building to understanding where Casey, the main girl, where she came from, and her, I'll just put it like it is, her molestation as a child.
Yeah.
Constantly abused, her physical abuse from her uncle. And then you realize, oh, she's not just different because she's socially awkward. She's different because she's so much more broken and tried than any of those girls could ever even imagine. They couldn't even begin to understand where she was coming from. And that's why even from the very beginning, it didn't matter if she was weird or not. The point was, she had been so broken, she wasn't like anyone else. And that's how you could see kind of the shift of who's going to survive. The two who have no experience whatsoever with any kind of pain, or the one who has seen it all by the age of 15.
Right.
And knows exactly what to do. And that's why the first part of the movie, you're like, man, she's kind of stubborn. She's kind of like annoying. But yet by the end, you're like, well, she's the one that didn't get her stomach eaten.
Yeah.
And another interesting thing to point out is, I think it was closer to the start of the movie, but Dennis says something about having watched the first 2 girls, not Casey's character. So you know from the get-go that he was out to get these 2 girls specifically. And Casey was just kind of the, I guess, bonus for the Beast, I guess, in his mind.
Yeah, just bad luck. It was a stroke of bad luck, which, of course, is kind of another example of divine intervention for Shyamalan.
I wouldn't even call it much of a stroke of bad luck. She was just kind of... it was more bad luck for her than anybody else.
Right.
Because if it hadn't been for her, I don't think the other 2 girls would have lasted as long as they had.
No, not really.
Right. And one thing that also, Adam, what you touched on as far as her molestation as a child, like it builds, and you think it's like maybe like this one time thing that happens once, but then it builds to a point where her parents die. And
then it's the uncle
uncle is her caretaker, and so
I was like sliding in my seat.
Yeah, that broke my. It made me so upset because it's like, man, she's dealt with this her entire life, and it's just heartbreaking,
We hadn't. I feel like she really should have pulled the trigger because we got a lot of flashbacks from her point of view. And I expected when she had that shotgun pointed at him as like...
She was going to do it.
As the 5-year-old was like, well, this guy's just going to get his face blown off. That's going to be that. And,
right.
Yeah. But to add that extra layer of, her only guardian that we know of, her dad, passing away, leaving her to her uncle, just kind of adds, like you said, that extra layer of brokenness to her character as a whole.
Right.
Which made it just much more triumphant for her to survive and essentially... be spared, but we'll call it, she won in that sense.
Yeah.
If he hadn't been invincible, he would have freaking got owned pretty much.
I'm interested. Well, yeah. I guess, and we'll talk about the last part of the ending real quick, which is the very mind-blowing casual connection to the movie Unbreakable from 2001. Once again, for the... Yeah, it's 15 years old,
dude.
Haste. It's been 15 years since that movie came out. Unbreakable kind of being M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's first superhero film, where Bruce Willis, through a tragic accident, discovers that he's unbreakable. He is physically invincible. However, his only weakness, and it's kind of funny, is water. When he falls in water, he loses all of his ability to move, and he will die if he's left in it too long.
He was a character from One Piece.
Yep, pretty much. And you had Samuel L. Jackson playing Mr. Glass, or Mr. Price, I believe is he's referred to as at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, Elijah Price, yep.
Yeah, long story short, you find out that Elijah Price, Samuel L. Jackson's character, is this super villain who has very brittle bone structure and has all these disorders where his body's very frail, but his intelligence is very high, his IQ is high, so his goal was to discover and find his unbreakable superhero adversary.
Like counterpart,
in a very twisted way. And he was the one that had orchestrated all these terrible events in Bruce Willis's life to help him awaken his gift. And for 15 years, people have been asking for some kind of resolution to that, because it ended on a cliff note. It just ended with Mr. Price, now known as Mr. Glass, being committed to an insane asylum, and Bruce Willis's character just being like, I'm going to go save people.
Right.
And that's it. And it ends. So the fact that you see this whole movie you think is just about this weird supernatural event with McAvoy's character and these girls, and have it casually end with Bruce Willis's character from Unbreakable sitting in a diner watching the news, and someone says, hey, wasn't there someone like that crazy guy? He's like in a wheelchair. And he goes, yeah, Mr. Glass.
Yep. Dude, and that's crazy. It blew my mind.
I was bouncing in my seat. I was like,
what?
Wait, that's it. And I'll say, because I didn't see it when it came out. I was too young. I was, 2001, so I would have been 7. But I did see it in middle school.
Yeah,
so
I saw it in high school.
Yeah, and actually Time Magazine listed Unbreakable as, I believe, the number 7 greatest superhero film of all time. So
I know it's up there.
The fact that we're seeing this new trilogy, because Shyamalan has gone on the record saying he wants to do a third film connecting the two stories and have it resolve in a classic trilogy format. So very excited that there will be a third installment sometime in the future, knowing Shyamalan, it'll probably another 10 years. But
well, apparently Shyamalan wanted to write this. Like, he's been wanting to write this. Like, he wrote this character. I was watching a movie reviewer on YouTube, Chris Stuckman, and he was talking about he was doing a spoiler review, and he's a huge Shyamalan fan. But, you know, Shyamalan's done After Earth and Avatar, or Last Airbender, and a bunch of other crap. So he's like just been disappointed lately, but he's like, this was, you know, best movie I've seen in a while. And he's like, apparently Shyamalan wrote this character to be an Unbreakable, but he didn't want to not do him justice. So he's like, you know, I'll just save him for, you know, another time. So,
exactly. He wanted a solo film for his
exactly. Yeah. For the Horde, as he's known now.
Yes, so now we can refer to, now we've gone to the ending, Kevin is no longer known as Kevin in the public eye. He is known as the Horde for his multiple personalities, granting him different abilities. And now it's not just science fiction or this weird spiritual thing. It's an actual just villain.
Right, now. Like a supervillain. Yep.
Yeah, he's a supervillain. So I am very interested to see where either how he chooses to continue this storyline, or Unbreakable, or kind of amalgamates the two. Either way, very excited.
Right. What did you guys think, real quick? What did you guys think? Because I was actually texting a buddy of mine before the show, and he's like, I'm not sure how I feel about kind of its like portrayal of DID, you know, like kind of dissociative, like identity disorder. He's like, I'm not sure if it kind of brings it to light or doesn't really do it justice. Like, personally, I was like, well, I guess I don't know enough about it, and I feel like with filmmakers, like, I don't think Shyamalan seems like someone who's really just trying to make like a compelling story, you know? So he's like, you know, well, this is just kind of part of the story. I don't think, what do you guys think about that?
Haste, your thoughts?
I did read a couple of discussions about the movie, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I've got this." A couple of people actually said like they've got the disorder. I don't necessarily. I'm. It's the internet. I don't know if I
Right,
really
exactly.
believe that or not. So I'm just gonna go as far to say I feel like it brought a bit more to light, but in regards to actually like providing media coverage or just bringing it more to light, I don't feel like it did as much as kind of like more movies that advocate that kind of stuff would actually do. It was more of a plot driving device
Exactly.
than
That's what I
anything
thought.
else.
Like that wasn't the
Yeah.
point. It wasn't here's a movie about mental illness. It's here's a movie which there's this guy who has kind of a type of this mental illness. It was, yeah, exactly. I agree with you.
Yeah,
So.
I guess I'll put it this way. I agree with both of you, and I'll add, no one was freaking out when Filth came out in 2013.
I've never seen that movie.
Yeah, see, either of you know what Filth is?
No.
Filth is a movie starring
About to
James
Google
McAvoy
this.
playing a corrupt, junkie cop with borderline personality disorder.
Really?
So,
Oh, wow.
I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Then that movie did well, was rated well, won awards, and I don't remember getting messages or seeing things on Facebook about its bad portrayal. I don't remember people saying things about Psycho, that he also played his mother and had this dissociative identity disorder. I don't remember seeing anyone saying anything about it. The list could go on. So,
yeah, that's true.
If anything, I would kind of chalk it up to be just this movie was in the spotlight enough, and people found something that they were uncomfortable with, and people equate discomfort with something that is offensive, which is certainly not the same thing. So, I think the movie's perfectly fine. If the movie even attempted to say like this is the definitive way to perceive, that would be like, okay, clearly no. This is a science fiction movie. This is a thriller. This is, not real. It can't pretend like it's an actual commentary, but it wasn't. It was a movie interested in, it was, as you both said, it was a part of the plot and the mechanics of the film, and in no way was meant to represent an actual person with dissociative identity disorder. So,
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
If there was one, I got one more thing to add.
Please do.
I feel like other than her kind of just being there to kind of poke and prod and kind of provoke, I guess, the psychiatrist, I feel like her character could have been cut out from the movie, and it really wouldn't have done anything to us other than explaining more what DID actually was.
Right.
Because the only like real thing she does, other than like that peak point at the end of the movie where she breaks Dennis out and's like, okay, I know who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't really do anything other than that big press conference because she meets with I forget the quote unquote designer personality.
Barry. That's Barry.
Barry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Other than meeting with Barry after the quote unquote emergency meetings, that the other personalities were like, holy crap, this is all going wrong. We're breaking out and sending her those emails. It just was like, what is she good for? I mean, no offense to her character.
I mean, no. I don't think she had a bad portrayal. I don't think she was really written that badly. It was more, how to put it. It felt like her job was providing context, and that was pretty much it. At any point when she could have had an opportunity to maybe break out of that, they didn't give her it.
No.
She was just kind of, every shot she goes, oh, Barry, I know that you are this person because of this. And I'm like, okay, how I didn't need to know that. I didn't need to know that Barry prefers wolves,
Yeah.
So, I agree. It's not that she's bad, but she wasn't really necessary.
I disagree. I think she was bad. No, she wasn't horrible. Like I texted you guys this after I saw the movie. Like it looked like she had like memorized these lines, and she's like, I really want to believe what I'm saying, but I just don't really like it was this like phony kind of like enthusiasm that I don't know. I just didn't buy it. Like really.
Yeah.
But
I guess
also the Skype interview was dumb. Like, what?
Yeah, that was 100%. That could have been
so
cut
stupid.
out. There was absolutely. What if it was possible that this disorder is going to be involved in the ending of the film? And
Also, we use Skype for our podcast.
We get it.
And there's no way that you have that clean of a connection, regardless of how good your Wi-Fi is.
Maybe she was using Google Fiber.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. You don't know.
Well, I guess a good point.
You don't know, man.
To make to counter her kind of uselessness, and her delivery of the lines, she was. I'm not trying to defend the writing for her because let's face it was atrocious.
Yeah.
She was dealing essentially with multiple people, so you can't approach everyone the same way.
Okay.
And I think when she realized that she was approaching someone that she had never technically met formally before, in the form of Dennis, I feel like that's when she started, treading carefully to not give away that she knew what was going on too much.
Right.
I feel like until the point where she's like, okay, I know who you really are now.
I am in danger.
Yeah, I'm a little bit in trouble here because she really kind of a flip to her demeanor came in that moment when she got real serious about it because she had just kind of been joking with Barry up until that point.
And then she was just kind of a human stress test for for the beast.
Oh gosh. Well, what I feel like she was kind of not us in a sense. She was talking to us almost like she was walking us along. This is how this works, and
that's what I was going to say. She was kind of like a narrator of sorts.
Exactly. She's like the dialogue that we kind of need to help the story go along. But I don't know. I think it could have been portrayed in a better way. But anyway.
Definitely.
I wish that we, especially towards the end when we got to see the profile videos, the diaries of different characters, I would have loved that way more as character background than his conversations with her, because it let McAvoy really sink into each character, and you got to see these perfectly unadulterated videos of, okay, there's no distinction, there's no confusion, you know exactly who this person is, even if it is just McAvoy wearing a dress. He's still someone that you know as a different person. So I wish it had been. If there's any time I wish Shyamalan used more hokey computer tricks, it would have been for something like that. Not showing a third-person Skype interview when we don't even see the crowd's reaction. We don't even hear anyone's reaction from the crowd questioning it. It was just her talking to a brick wall for 15 seconds and going, back to the action.
The only reason it wasn't an actual conference was for product placement. So they could have paid 100 people $50 each and be like, all right, guys, come on in here and act interested.
I would have loved to have done that. That would have been dope.
Yeah. Did you guys get the Unbreakable reference when he went up to the train? He grabbed the flowers. His parents died on the train wreck that showed Bruce Willis that he got his powers.
That's right.
Yep. So I thought that was cool.
I didn't pick that up.
Yeah.
Now, moving kind of forward or just to a slightly different topic. Cinematography, direction. A lot of the movie, for me, I guess I was impressed by his use of. Before I talk about cinematography, I was very impressed by the roboticness of the shots. Considering how emotionally charged they were, you would assume that most of the shots in the film would center around a cameraman holding a dolly and kind of walking around the scene. But instead, it felt like most of the movie was on a tripod, which was kind of different. I wasn't. Right. I mean, I want to see if you guys picked up on anything like that or noticed anything different or.
And I think what I was really impressed by is that I don't have to be really pretentious to think like stuff like that. So.
Yeah, okay.
No,
Sorry,
I agree.
I care.
No, I agree. I thought the camera work was very robotic, and it was odd. It wasn't as fluid as you would think it would be.
And let me preface: robotic is not it's a compliment. It is not a dig. I was impressed because it kind of added this edge of we are these silent watchers, and it felt like we were just kind of observing what was happening, which was cool. It it helped me kind of separate and ease a little bit of the anxiety the movie gave me while I was watching it. So,
there was no shaky cam. Like, I don't know much about camera work, but I know shaky cam annoys the crap out of me.
The only two scenes I can think of in the entire film that used any kind of hand cam or shaky cam, as you're referring, would be the train yard where you see him like getting the flowers and grabbing it because it's showing him walking. And the second time it was from... I remembered it.
Wasn't it from Casey's point of view when she was like running down the hallway or something like that?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
and so it was usually used just to show perspective from that person's point of view. That was it. Any other moment in the film, it was just locking on a tripod, hit record.
Right, so, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Something I noticed about it was we didn't really get a lot of shots other than maybe the kitchen scene where I felt like there were a lot of people on camera. You were really just kind of looking at one person the entire time.
It's true.
And getting their like point of view on things, or just like seeing how they're reacting to those around them without looking at the others around them.
It definitely felt very claustrophobic.
Yeah, which really helped. Which having that singular focus really helped McAvoy's character show that, like, okay, this is the center. This is like I'm not going to say the problem, but this is what is going on. This guy.
Yeah, it was for me. It was almost like if you get too fancy with camera work in a movie like that, it takes away the, like you said, claustrophobia. Like you said, kind of the thrilling factors of, like, if it was like Matrix camera works with these huge wide takes, it would not have felt the same. You know.
Nope. So and I did feel like through camera work, I never felt like I was in a cozy bunker. It felt like every room was just a jail cell, and trying to think of how are they going to escape this cell. But every time they don't.
Especially the window.
The window.
The drawn window.
That was so heartbreaking.
That was. I mean, come on. Okay.
And the radio. The radio too was pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys reminded me actually of the film's use of humor. I thought was very well done.
Amazing.
It wasn't hokey. It didn't feel like it was like this weird commercial break from the action. It felt like a nice kind of blend of kind of that scalarious, like it's just you're terrified of what you're seeing, but yet you can't help but laugh anyway. You know, the main example being Hedwig dancing to Kanye West.
Oh, that was amazing.
You just don't expect that. You don't expect in the middle.
What? Okay, when he says he dances, what does he mean he dances? And then you see it and you're like, this is so terrifying, I can't look away.
It's amazing.
But I know, and people, I mean, I was in a theater of about 20, 25 people. It wasn't too busy. It was a smaller one. And people were just cracking up. I mean, there was... I don't think there's anyone not laughing at those kind of moments, but they were well done.
He's a 9-year-old girl trying to impress a 9-year-old guy trying to impress like an older girl. Like that's what he's, that's what he's thinking.
Like
yeah, exactly. Like, and he's and McAvoy just plays.
Considering
plays
when Hedwig goes, "Can I kiss you?"
You might be pregnant.
And she goes,
weird.
Sure. And he just kind of proceeds to put his lip awkwardly on her jawbone. And he goes, "Am I a good kisser?" I was like, I'm done.
And then she felt, but that was such a testament to how empathetic, I guess, human beings can be. Like when he changed to Hedwig after Kevin's like, kill, like there's a shotgun here, the shells are there, kill me now. Like I need to die. Like I'm gonna hurt so many people. He turns into Hedwig and he's like begging her and she's like, "No, Hedwig, please." Like she still feels bad even though there's a monster. What she has to do. Yeah, exactly. There's a monster within him. And I think that's just kind of a testament to humanity. Like humans aren't as terrible like sometimes as people think they are.
And Hedwig in that moment's kind of like, no one's ever going to pick on me again now that the beast is here.
You understand why he's doing what he's doing.
Forward. Yeah.
Yeah, like you feel for him.
The beast isn't there just to protect Hedwig at that point. He's there to protect everybody, all 23 personalities.
Yeah.
And to a degree, I assume, like with the beast finally taking over at the end, that Kevin's personality just kind of dies, I guess.
Right.
Because at that moment, you kind of feel like
we're not quite sure. Well, we never really see him besides that moment of clarity when he says, "You need to kill me." I don't think there's really any moment where we saw Kevin. So
at the end, doesn't he look in like the two mirrors? Like that he has that conversation between like.
Well, it looks like it was Hedwig and Dennis.
Right.
It was Hedwig
because Hedwig was like, "Oh my gosh, I look so cool! Look at that!" And then Dennis is like,
"No one's gonna believe this."
Yeah. And then Dennis was like, "We have work to do." So I'm like, "Okay." So either it was the Beast or Dennis. Both were kind of synonymous towards the end because of their methods and personalities. So,
right.
Yeah. Well, just to kind of start wrapping things up, we'll go around. Haste, we'll start with you, then Matt, then me. What score would you give the movie out of 10? Maybe talk about why. Some final thoughts.
Final score for me, I'm probably going to give it maybe a 7. I say this because, well, yes, the cinematography was great. I loved James McAvoy. Anya Taylor's character was great. The other two girls kind of brought it not necessarily down for me a little bit because I mean they were there to play the role that they needed to play, and then they met that untimely demise. And
yep.
Like we said, the psychiatrist really kind of mellowed it out too. But if it hadn't been for those like couple factors, and like you said earlier, if we had seen more of those like personalized videos of each of the personalities kind of talking about why they are who they are and like how they fit into Kevin as an individual.
Yeah, like streamlined character development.
Yeah. Because, I mean, granted, the personalities we did see, their development was great and fantastic. But if we had seen more of them and just like kind of maybe fleshed out Kevin a little bit more as what different personalities stemmed from what form of trauma.
Right. I feel like that would have been interesting.
The older British lady kind of stemmed from the fact that his mother was a huge jerk to him, and we see like a small 2-second glimpse of that. And we see that loving mother figure trying to do what she can to take care of all the other personalities in the best of her ability. So yeah, that's kind of my takeaway.
Okay. Matt, what about you?
I would give it 7 out of 10 as well. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I think I give it 7 out of 10 from like a film criticism, even though I'm not a film critic.
Yeah, you are.
I'm a
we're giving
professional
scores
musician.
To movies. We are officially film critics, even if we're not good at it.
No, like there were a few things. I think just essentially exactly what Haste said. I thought for a moment maybe there could have been a tiny bit more build-up as far as before they got captured to kind of portray the girls in a sense of them never kind of feeling, any sort of actual trauma or any sort of actual pain. But I think it actually maybe played to the strength of the movie. And the movie wasn't very long. I mean, it was a couple hours, I guess. But it was
an hour and 57 minutes.
But it did not feel like I did not feel that length, right? Like, I mean, even though there's not like a ton of action, it goes by very quickly, I think. But I think there could have been a tiny bit more build up. The girls were kind of give or take, and I did not like the psychiatrist. She was boring. But other than that, James McAvoy, I would be surprised. I mean, actually, I won't be surprised, but he really needs an Oscar nom for this because phenomenal performance. Just
so he pretty much carried the movie on his back.
He did.
I mean, I'll put it lightly.
Metaphorically, the Beast carried the movie on his back.
Absolutely.
Good one, Haste.
There's always got to be one dad joke per podcast. So we have met our quota.
Also, that dad at the beginning, I thought he was hilarious. Like he was like a really good actor.
He was gone. I was like, he would have been really good.
Yeah. All right, Adam. What about you?
I'm gonna have to give it an Assassin's Creed out of 10. No, in all seriousness. I would say an 8 out of 10. I think this is Shyamalan's best movie since that Unbreakable, Signs, Sixth Sense era. I think it kind of recaptured his imagination for theme, for character development, for kind of a dialogue about things we may know nothing about, and yet we can walk away profoundly disturbed by them.
Right, yeah.
And really the only two factors that wouldn't make it a perfect film would be and I joked around about it, but the soundtrack was non-existent, which was really weird.
You're right.
One thing about that, did you notice at the start of the movie when we were getting to the credits screen, there was like that low kind of hum that was the cart being dragged with the girls on it. Mm-hmm. That was like the only soundtrack we got, and it was just so like disturbing and ominous because like, okay, I'm getting like this like vibe of like low violins, but it was actually the cart they were being dragged on.
Yep. So I think I guess most of the soundtrack felt very it just didn't feel very involved, and at no point was I even paying attention to it. It didn't even I couldn't even, in the moments where I did try to pay attention, I really couldn't find anything. It was just a lot of sound effects by an audio team. So, which disappointed me because the same guy who did the music and soundtrack for this movie did this movie or the music for The Imitation Game. Okay. And Wes Anderson's Grand Budapest Hotel.
Really? Okay, wow.
And that same year when both those films came out, both were nominated for an Oscar for Best Soundtrack or Best Score, and he beat himself.
Wow.
So I assumed walking in, I was like, I'm prepared for this very kind of weird, low-key, like weird orchestral vibe with occasional synth kind of stuff. Because, I mean, if you've seen It Follows, which was the last movie he did, which is killer soundtrack, by the way. If you thought Stranger Things was okay, the music for It Follows is way better. But but yeah, so I was disappointed because it was just noise. It was just back, and then occasionally this random violin string would go, nah. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, hindsight, I don't really remember anything else at all.
Anything else?
No, I don't. So, I don't remember a soundtrack at all either. Now that you think of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's weird, and maybe I just need to rewatch it and I'll revise my score based on it again. But that was kind of a letdown, and I think we all agreed. Psychiatrist was just kind of this wooden plot device that was just meant to dispense information when necessary. So, yeah, if they had kind of found a way to work her in as an actual character, not just a talking head, it would have certainly been better. But also, overall, I think we all agree, great movie. And if you haven't seen it, go see it.
One of the better movies I've seen in a while.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Also, Bruce Willis still looks like an egg.
Yeah, like, he him
and Vin Diesel are just both. You don't think so? Well, no, not since he's balded. See, when he lost the widow's peak, he's looked the same for the past since he lost his hair.
Yeah, I think Sixth Sense would do that to anyone. But.
Yeah. Also, Adam, did you see XXX: The Return of Xander Cage? Because I am waiting to.
I have not seen it.
All right,
and I will see it sometime soon.
You need to see it.
It might be one of the first movies I illegally rip just so I cannot pay money to that studio.
I haven't either. I just want to.
I don't want to spend money that I earn for something I could care less about.
Listen, I spent money on Assassin's Creed. All right, you need to pay your penance.
Hey, fun fact: I actually thought the movie wasn't half bad, but.
Did you see Assassin's Creed?
It's a different episode, different day. But
hey, did you see it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I've heard it's for Assassin's Creed fans. It's an alright movie. Other than that, you'll hate it.
See, that's the distinction. Similar to Warcraft.
So
once again,
bad.
different episode.
Warcraft
different episode,
was
different
phenomenal.
Day. Well,
just gonna throw that out there.
Haste, thank you so much for coming on, dude.
Thanks,
guys. I appreciate it.
Of course, and as always, guys, find us on social media: Facebook, MovieFellas Pod. Gmail if you have any questions
on Facebook,
Twitter.
Yeah,
we also have Matt, I believe we have a Letterboxd account now, right?
Yes, I am on Letterboxd as MovieFella.
Perfect.
So my reviews are usually about 2 sentences, and they're pretty sarcastic and dumb. If you want a good laugh about movies I've seen, you can check that out. And you guys are welcome to. Adam, you're welcome to contribute to that. I just have that on there as me. But anyway, so we are. Let me just give them the exact real quick, because we don't want people going to the wrong place. You know what I'm saying? We are MovieFellas Pod at Gmail, MovieFellas Podcast on Facebook, at MovieFellas Pod on Twitter. Guys, give us a like, share us if you don't hate us. Even if you do, just get on board with some more hate. Send us a letter.
I think you're joking. I think people think I'm joking, but if you have great burns and insults, I want to know them. So please send them to us, because I want to know them.
Also, memes. We love memes.
I love memes.
Shoot us a good meme.
Tell your mom about the podcast. I'm sure she'll love it.
My mom actually, I think she listened to our first podcast, but she goes, your guys, it's too long. I was like, I don't think you're aware of what the definition of a podcast is, but all right.
Most podcasts are like an hour and a half at least. Well, I guess.
Some podcasts are like 2 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for listening, and we are out.
Thank you, guys. Gladiated up. Peace.